Um, okay, go ahead, Scott.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon and welcome. Welcome. It's a rainy Thursday afternoon here in Virginia Beach. But your lucky day. One of my colleagues, Scott D.G. Marino, is with us today, and he is going to present on the topic of using Hollywood movie clips to bring messages to life. And as Scott knows, I'm a big fan of what he has done. I don't know if people remember the movie Bambi, but Bambi was Twitter-pated. Bambi was Twitter-pated. He was madly in love. I'm in awe of what Scott has done in building this product. I enjoy movies myself. I believe in every bone of my body that a picture can say 1,000 words. And so Scott has built a really interesting tool to both help leaders communicate more powerfully, and for people who do training to communicate in a more powerful and legally approved way. Both of those things are good things to do. So Scott, welcome. I'm truly so glad that you're with us today, and
Thanks,
always enjoy hearing you wax poetic about what you're doing, and as you've told me, you're always updating what's available to us on MovieCom. So I look forward to hearing the latest and greatest. Maybe you can break some news for us today. Maybe. Anyway, so before I turn it over to Scott, what I want to do is I talk a little bit about Boxer Advisors. I want to cover some ground rules, some housekeeping details, and then I'll introduce the session. Then I'll turn it over to Scott and let him take it from there. So this, I think, is year 24 for me, having my own consulting firm, which, yay. I had another firm. I sold my interest in that and started Boxer Advisors about 4.5 years ago. The focus of Boxer Advisors is to deliver high-end coaching, consulting, and training solutions. We believe that one of the secret sauces to help us do what we do is integrating our solutions into the client environment. And we find, again, whether it's MovieCom, whether it's a coaching solution or a training solution, when we integrate those solutions into our client system and we provide some follow-up, we actually help our clients realize some measurable return on investment, which at the end of the day, that's the holy grail, and that's exciting when we do that. So the focus of the firm is to do three things. One, it's to deliver partnerships with our internal, external clients. It's to identify best-in-class learning solutions and to translate insights into action. The three things that we do with our clients is we help our clients build leadership capabilities. We help them more effectively manage change, and we help them to engage and retain top talent. So that's a little bit about us. So what I want to do is talk about the learning outcomes for the session, and then want to talk a little bit about some logistical details. So what Scott will talk to us about is how do you make your messages come alive, and in particular for younger generations that may not be as interested in reading your 80 paragraph email on your latest strategy for the new fiscal year. I'm just saying, maybe they won't. I think he'll talk a little bit about how you can drive engagement in your organization. Ultimately, I think there are a lot of federal agencies and corporations that are really focused on driving employee engagement up. And I think I'm sure we'll have some creative ideas on how to influence leadership behavior and ultimately some real results from clients. So those are the three things that Scott's going to do. Before we launch our first polling question, some logistical details. One, we are taping the session. So if you like what you're hearing and you want to review it yourself, or B, you want to pass it on to a colleague, you just send me an email and we will send that to you. Second, everyone is muted just because it will help Scott get through the materials in a timely manner. We will end at 2:30 p.m. Eastern. And if people have questions, you can, there's a chat bar and a Q&A bar. You can type some questions and I'll monitor those. And Scott, are you comfortable taking questions as we go, or do you want to wait until the end?
No, I think it'd be great if we had questions throughout.
Okay, all right. And so the third thing is we will issue, I think, an email before close of business tomorrow with a short evaluation. And if you can take a couple of minutes and give us feedback on this, we're always trying to improve the effectiveness of our webinars. I'm going to stop there. Sarah, is there anything critical that I should say that I haven't said about logistics, or are we good?
I think we're good.
All right, Scott, I'll let you take it from here.
Okay, well, thanks so much. It's great to be here. I really appreciate it, Ken and Sarah. We did this last year. It was an awful lot of fun, so I was looking forward to this. So basically, we have a bunch of polling questions we're going through here. We'll actually have some movies, believe it or not, that we'll show, and I'll walk through the agenda in a second. But the first polling question is what are you hoping to learn from today's sessions? As you see, there are 4 different answers there. And we'll give you a couple seconds to fill out the survey.
Scott, while people are filling this out, I had one of my clients do an icebreaker yesterday to kick off the afternoon. And he asked the question, what's the worst movie that you've ever seen? So what, is there one or two that you don't have to answer? You can do the poll, but at some point, I imagine you have an answer for that.
Let me think about that one. Usually people ask me the opposite of what's the best movie of all time.
Of course, right?
So it looks like the polling questions are, it's 71% of people want to learn how to spice up their presentations. And 57% we're talking about how to get new ideas to motivate and inspire my team. And our hope here is to give answers to all 4 of these questions as we go through today. So I'm going to do a couple things today. One is, as you hear, I'm going to tell you my story about me being at American Express for 25 years. And then we took the organization from worst to first. Then people are always interested in our Hollywood studio negotiations, which is always fun. I'm actually going to give you a demo of the MovieCom platform. And finally, we'll have QA and wrap up the last questions throughout as we go through today.
So you can do a demo of what it looks like, yes?
Yeah, that's the plan.
I think that's great.
That is my plan.
Yeah.
So if you don't mind, to get everybody in the movie frame of mind, I have my first video for everybody. I'd like you to think about the most famous and most iconic movie line of all time. So if everybody just in their mind just lock in, what do you think is the most famous movie line? Now Hollywood actually did a study a couple of years ago of the top 20 most famous movie lines of all time, and I'm going to show you the answer to that right now.
We're going to need a bigger boat. I'm just guessing.
Let me move this up. Hold on a second.
You can't handle the truth. Was it over when the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor? Show me the money! Failure is not an option.
There's no crying. There's no crying in baseball.
Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
My mom always said life was like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get.
I'm gonna make him an offer, Cameron.
I'll have what she's
Hasta la vista, baby. $1 million.
Say hello to my little friend.
Toto, I have a feeling we're not in Kansas anymore.
If you build it, he will come.
Here's Johnny.
It's alive. It's alive. It's alive. It's alive. It's alive.
You can't have.
So, and Ken, I do believe that the Jaws You'll Need a Bigger Boat was number 21. Anyway,
You got to enjoy what you do, man.
exactly.
That's great.
Exactly.
Great.
So anyway, I'm from Boston originally, moved to DC in 1993, and I ran a division of American Express for the majority of the East Coast. And when I moved to DC, for American Express, the office I took over, the region I took over, was ranked 173rd out of 176. I want you to think about one of the worst environments in the history of mankind. People weren't showing up for work. When they were showing up for work, they were negative. Our employee engagement scores, which by the way we were measured on, were worst in class, not only in the financial services space of American Express, but from all of American Express. And my wife is saying to me, what were you thinking about moving down here to do this turnaround? And so whenever you're doing a turnaround situation, the first thing you want to do is you want to find out what's actually going on. And being a video guy, we actually took a video of what some of those meetings originally looked like.
Terrific. I'm Bob Slidell. This is my associate, Bob Porter. Hi, Bob. Bob, why don't you go ahead and grab a seat and join us for a minute or two? You see, what we're actually trying to do here is we're trying to get a feel for how people spend their day at work. So, if you would you walk us through a typical day for you?
Yeah.
Great.
Well, I generally come in at least 15 minutes late. I use the side door, that way Lumberg can't see me. And after that, I just sort of space out for about an hour.
Space out?
Yeah, I just stare at my desk. But it looks like I'm working. I do that for probably another hour after lunch, too. I'd say in a given week, I probably only do about 15 minutes of real, actual work.
So,
Terrific.
interesting enough, there's a second polling question here. And it says the average employee in the workplace admits to wasting 1.7 hours a day, essentially doing nothing. The question is, this results in how much lost productivity a day? You can see the answers there. Let's take a quick sec.
Hey, Scott, I'm going to just, while we've got this, someone was asking the question, how do you manage copyright issues with the movie clips if, you know, in leveraging, I know you're going to talk about that.
Yep, hold on. That's a
No,
great
no, right, yeah.
Okay, we have almost everybody there. So 57, over 50% of everybody said 2.4 billion a day. The actual number is $5.4 billion a day in lost productivity, because people just essentially aren't engaged on a day-to-day basis. And there's another poll I did not put up here, but just so everybody knows, the number one reason why people aren't engaged, most people think it's about money. It's really not about money. It's about leadership. And effective leadership. The more effective you are, studies will show, the more engaged people will actually be. So, okay, let's stop here and let's go to the next slide. Okay, so what happens is when you're in a turnaround situation and you find out what's going on, like we just did with the movie Office Space, now you want to get in front of everybody and paint this really compelling vision. You want to get everybody really excited and clear about where we're going. And you also want people to have a clear understanding about what they can expect of you and what you can expect of them. Again, we took a video of this. Let's take a look.
Okay, Tigers. Look who's here. I'll give you a hint. Hall of Fame, Chicago Bears.
Sammy Sosa?
No, football. Coached the 1986,
85.
Bears to a Super Bowl victory. It's Mike Ditka.
You didn't know Sammy Sosa?
Hey, zip it, kid. I'm a coach that knows about winning. I'm gonna push you guys like you've never been pushed before. Somebody's gonna wish I was dead.
It's true. I know it's a weird thought, but it's true.
I eat quitters for breakfast and I spit out their bones.
Delicious.
Now this is gonna be the hardest, most difficult thing you ever attempted in your entire life. But you know what? When it's over.
Get emotional.
When it's over.
When it's over.
You guys are gonna be champions.
Champions!
By God, you're gonna be champions. All right, everybody up. Come on, hands in.
Yeah.
Come on, everybody. Let's go out and kick some butt.
Here we go. On 3. Let's have fun. 1, 2, 3. Let's have fun.
Let's have fun. What's that?
So anyway, from the movie Kicking and Screaming. So it was funny. So again, in 1 year, we went from number 173 to number 1. We maintained that top ranking for over 20 plus years. And the way Amex back in the day measured us was on both hard numbers and soft. So your hard numbers are your year-over-year growth, your profitability, but your soft numbers, which we all know are what they call leading indicators about the health of your organization, things like employee engagement scores, leadership impact scores, etc. So we completed the turnaround. The challenge we were running into was we were actually growing too fast. I'll give you an example. Over a 6-year period, we went from 1 office to 207. We went from 32 employees to over 1,600. And we went from 100 plus 3 leaders underneath me to well over 100. And because we were best in class in every metric back in the day, what would happen was I would always get these calls from my peers saying, hey, can we send people out to come visit you? We want to see what you're doing. And they would be here for a couple weeks. And magically what ended up happening was when they went back to their offices, they would always steal my talent. So there would be a job opening up in Dallas and in LA and in Seattle, and all my top people would always go some other places. So there were a bunch of little DeGenerators running all around American Express, and for us, we get a pat in the back, we get some stock options, we get a lot of recognition, but it's go get them next year, Tiger. And at some point in time, we hit this talent drain, we hit blood, which is problematic. The second challenge we have is as we grew, we saw this natural bell curve starting to happen. And what we found was 10% of our people were truly rock stars. These are the folks that no matter what happened in life, they always seemed to be successful, didn't need much direction, and it's like whatever they touched always seemed to turn to gold. On the bottom end, we always found that there were 10% of people that also struggled. And these were folks that, it's not a question of they weren't working hard or they didn't have good intent, but they just didn't find their footing as of yet. And then we had 80% of the people in the middle. These are talented people that were kind of stuck. And so from a strategic standpoint, what we said to ourselves is if we can get this 80% of people to move in the right direction, it's called factorial because of how many there are moving a short bit. If we can get them to move in the right direction, we believe we can have a dramatic impact not only on our results, but also on people. So that was our focus, was on the 80% of the people in the middle. The other challenge we were having was that our employees were getting younger and younger by the day. We did most of our recruiting through colleges. I think our average age hire was 23 to 25 years old back in the day. And so I was getting older, they were getting younger, and it was funny, my messages started getting stale. So I don't know if anybody's on the phone here where you're running a meeting, you're running a PowerPoint, whatever you're doing, and you're constantly looking for new and innovative material to get people's attention. And then make your messages stickier. That's what I found every single day, especially as we got younger overall. So here's the next polling question. What percent of the global workforce will be the younger generation, the video generation, the Zers or the millennials by 2025? Okay. The answer is actually the winner was said 85%. The actual answer is 75%. 75% of the global workplace in the next couple of years will be the younger generation. And what that means is that we as leaders need to adapt to how they like to learn, how they like to be taught, how they like to be motivated and communicated to. Because if we don't, what's going to happen is they're going to leave. They're going to be disengaged. They're going to quit. And the cost of recruiting, training, and retaining, we found, has never been higher. So in the last challenge we were having during the 6-year periods, I wanted to have a life. Normally people at an executive level, they were constantly on the road, going back and forth. Let me shut that. Sorry. Going back and forth up and down the East Coast. I didn't want to do that. I live in Great Falls, Virginia. I coach basketball. I coach soccer. My kids were younger back in the day. And I did not want to be this absent-minded father. I wanted to be able to have it all and have a life. So that was my focus. So it was time for me to get creative. I'm saying to myself, how can I have it all? How can we have great business results, continue to grow, be able to communicate and connect with this younger generation that was predominant what we were hiring, do it through junior vice presidents and junior managers with me having a life. So I love movies. I'm the type of person that when I go watch a movie, I remember the lines, I remember the scenes, I remember the emotions, I get these goosebumps. I don't know if anybody else on the line is like that. I find myself always constantly talking in movies. And so I thought to myself, is there a way in which I could use my love for movies as a way of engaging people? So next polling question. And this has to do with short video. A 1-minute video is equivalent to how many words? And you can see the numbers from 1 to 5 here. Okay, so the most popular answer was 108,000 words. Believe it or not, a 1-minute video is equivalent to 1.8 million words. I did a TED Talk a couple of years ago. It was called Why Movies Move Us. It was all about the neuroscience of the brain and what happens when people actually watch movies. And there was a study done by Stanford that actually came back saying that the average person, when they watch a short video, will not only remember what was said, but they remember what the emotion was. And the reason that's important is that when you're by yourself and you need to make a principle-based decision and you remember back to the video that you saw, people are much more apt to enhance their behavior as a result of what they remembered. So short video is so important. That's why 97% of the internet right now is short video. If you look at the YouTube numbers, which we'll have a polling question in a second, it's huge. So we're right here for polling question number 6. So how many hours of YouTube videos are watched every day? Okay, nice dispersion across the board here. The actual answer is 1 billion hours a day. 1 billion hours. Looks like we got 2 people got that right. And by the way, the average YouTube video is less than 2 minutes long. So shorter, the better. By the way, one more interesting note in this thing. For those movie lovers out there, if you go back and look at movies about the length of scenes from the 40s, the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, that go through every single decade, the length of scenes are getting shorter and shorter and shorter. Again, because Hollywood understands the attention spans and what the audience actually wants. So shorter is better. Again, for myself, back in the day, I would run 3-hour meetings. What I learned is that those days of 3-hour meetings are like over. Okay, so here's what we decided to do. Here was our process. So what I would do is every single week, I was going to send out an email to my 1,600 employees over 200 offices. And I would start by picking a theme. My theme was historically my principles and my values. Integrity, service, courage, teamwork, collaboration. We had hundreds of them, right? And then I would write up why it was relevant. Why? So let's use the example of courage. So this week's all about courage. Let me tell you why courage is important. And then I would find a movie clip that spoke to that. And then we would send it out. So if the example was courage, I would say, guys, this week's all about courage. Let me tell you why courage is important. It kind of reminds me of the movie The Black Panther. And for those who've never seen it before, it's about X, Y, and Z. And as you're watching this scene, I'd love for you to share back with me the most courageous decision you ever made in your life. Interesting enough, when we would email that out, we would get back 200 to 300 stories a week from people that usually had nothing to do with business. They would say, when I was 9 years old, here's what happened to me. And then what we would do is we would take that story, and with your permission, of course, we would share that with everybody else. And what that did was it built this culture and this environment where people felt connected to one another. They had shared a story, they had shared a movie clip. It became the talk in the hallways, and it helped us train and engage people much more effectively, again, because of the science, where they remember the movie clip when they had to make a principle-based decision. So I want to show you an example of what this would look like. So let's say that I am I'm running a region, and this week I want to talk about people being positive. So has anybody here ever worked in an organization where you have negative people around? They try to bring you down. They're always talking behind the pot of palms. So for me, I'm all about being positive. So here's a clip that I want to show you of an example of what I would send out.
Get up. What? We're not gonna do this. What? Seriously.
Oh.
What are you doing? We have to go do something and have fun.
I'm just so tired.
I know you're tired, but we're gonna be untired. We're gonna go live.
Ugh, I hate you so much sometimes.
We're gonna be positive. Positive, positive, positive. Up.
How many Red Bulls have you had?
I've had about 3 Red Bulls in the last 15 minutes, and I feel fabulous. We're gonna create a new life, and it's gonna be awesome. Get up. Let's go.
So that's from the movie Knocked Up. Let me stop there real quick. Ken, looks like we have a couple questions. Oh, Ken, we need your volumes off. Oh, Ken, you're muted.
Sorry, thank you. So again, I know you're going to handle it later, but one question is around copyright, and I know that's sort of part and parcel to how you've created MovieCom. And the second question, which you might speak to, I think the question was, I'm not sure, was it anonymous or identifiable? I think that's the question around the feedback that you got back, I assume.
Yep, okay. Got it.
Yeah, so you can either answer those now, or you can say I'm going to answer them later.
We're going to answer this. We're going to answer the copyright one right now.
Yeah, all right, perfect.
So it's interesting. So we did this for 20 years. Okay, and we had the best employee engagement scores in all of American Express through every single entity they had for 20 plus years. Our percentage, first of all, we had close to 70 to 80% of people every year filling out our surveys, but we also had our percent of people that were engaged on average was 91%, which, by the way, in the world today, the percent of people that are engaged is about 31%. The percent of millennials and Gen Zers that are engaged is actually 17% today. So again, as Ken mentioned earlier, it's a tool. So one day I get a phone call from Ken Chenault. Ken's was the CEO of American Express at the time, and says, "Listen, we're going to send McKinsey in to study you. We have no idea what you're doing, but we'd like to see what we can learn and see if we can share around the country." So McKinsey came in. They spent there a couple of weeks, and the first thing they found out was what we were doing wasn't legal. We knew nothing about copyright law back in the day. This is back in the mid to late 90s. And so we had to solve that problem quickly. And then all of a sudden, once we did that, once all the Amex saw what we were doing, all of a sudden people were using our system, our clips in every region of the country. We're seeing executives using our clips in keynote speeches, emails, text, blogs. If they had a Zoom back in the day, they would use it in Zoom. So I'm like, my gosh, I said, McKinsey's saying we got something special. People are using it, and they're saying we're seeing the exact same results and through our KPIs as we saw. Maybe we're on to something here. So I started cold calling the Hollywood movie studios. So Disney, Universal, Paramount, and the rest of the gang saying, look, I got something here. It seems to be working for a Fortune 50 company on a consistent basis. We're seeing people that historically had very average results now starting to do some extraordinary things. That 80% of the middle we talked about. And so I don't know if anybody here knows anything about Hollywood, but they're very, very slow in making a decision. It took me 9.5 years of negotiating to finally get a yes. I call it 9.5 years of begging. Finally, I get a phone call one day from Universal Studios who said I think we have this thing figured out. And we partnered with them, their labor relations attorneys, the Screen Actors Guild, etc. And long story short, we became the first company in the history of Hollywood to gain legal rights to use movie clips in B2B and higher education communication, leader communication, training, e-learning, PowerPoint presentations, essentially any ways that people communicate today, we can use our clips in. So Ken, I hope that answers the question.
I think it does.
That we essentially got.
Right, and Scott, so the answer is, I know I have participated in training sessions, and I've seen other people do it. Correct me, but many times when trainers are using them in that perspective, they're doing so illegally. They're violating copyright law. Is that true?
For the most part, yes.
Right.
I've been made very aware. $250,000 fines, 5 years imprisonment per incident. Blah blah blah. And if you're working for a brand name company, like I was at American Express, and it looks like the majority of the people that are on the phone are, the last place you want to end up is in the front page of the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, because they usually print bad news.
Right.
And so our whole thing was we wanted to create a business where people who wanted to do this right, people that wanted to use clips right to get their messages across, that was ad-free, legally approved, easy to find, had a platform to do that, and that's what MovieCon basically is. All right. Any questions? Okay, so that's basically MovieCon. I'm gonna jump into the demo.
That's great.
Okay, if I can. Let's see here. 1 second. Okay, thank you. All right, so I'll go big screen here. Okay, so this is the existing MovieCon platform. Just so you know, we're actually having a facelift in this in a couple weeks. But I want to kind of scroll down here and show you a couple things. So this is how people historically use MovieCon. So first thing here is they send out. Oops, I lost my. They send out Monday morning motivational emails to their employees. A lot of people will load it into their PowerPoint presentations. We have teachers, professors, trainers that are doing online classes or face-to-face classes using our clips to either tee up a message, tee up a meeting, tee up a message, maybe every 12 to 15 minutes to break up the monotony or to close strong at the end of the class. We do a lot of work with our coaches that will text the clips before a big game or enhance their blog post. And then we do some work with e-learning companies, where e-learning companies, for those people that have seen some of the e-learning modules, which is a $200 billion industry and supposed to triple over the next couple of years, especially in the wake of COVID, we use clips to spice up e-learning modules. And what people have found in the bottom right-hand corner here is you get more motivated and inspired employees. You see higher engagement scores with employees, students, and audiences. We found record-breaking internal email open rates. Usually internal email open rates are running between 40 and 50%. When you use the name of the movie or the name of the actor, like see how Tom Hanks in the movie Castaway is handling adversity, we're seeing internal email open rates run north of 90%. We're seeing best-in-class organizational alignment, culture, and environment. We're seeing so if you're trying to get everybody on the same page, it's perfect for that in a fun way. And finally, we're seeing stickier, more memorable messages, overall. So let me stop there real quick. Any questions on that?
Hey, Scott, 2 questions. So if a company is using a YouTube clip, that's not necessarily illegal, is it?
Well, again, it depends who you talk to. If you talk to the studio attorneys, the answer is usually yes.
Gotcha.
No, but as we all know, people are using clips all the time, right?
Right.
And so for us, what's happening is 99% of our clients really just want to do it the right way. They don't want any questions in there whatsoever, and so that's what we provide.
Yep. Scott, I assume that in the area of COVID, that this is even a more powerful tool around engagement and training. Is that what you're seeing?
Yeah, it's funny you say that. Thank you for bringing that up. What we're learning is that when people are now using Zoom every day, right? And there's two things that's happening. Number one is they have to learn how to use the technology. And it's not always easy for people, especially if you're not used to using technology and you're more used to face-to-face. So that's problem one. Problem two, Ken, is once they actually figure out how to use the technology, now they have a bigger issue. And the bigger issue is, how do I engage people on the other end? I probably do 30 or 40 webinars a week. There's usually 40 people, little boxes on my screen. And it's hard to read people's faces, and it's challenging to get their attention and keep their attention in that type of environment. And it looks like in the future, I don't know if you folks seen the statistics, but it looks like over 55% of people in the world believe and want to actually stay home once a vaccine is found and things start going back to normal, which means the Zooms of the world is the new normal. Okay, so we have to change the way we think. We have to change the way we present. We have to change the way we engage people. Again, couple that with the younger generation. We need to change our thought process. Okay, so I've logged into the system. At the bottom here it says search, and I'm just going to show you how the system works. So a couple things. Along the way, we have built a video-based search engine. So for those people that have gone on YouTube before, if you know what you're looking for, it's actually kind of easy. I am looking for Animal House. Let's go. Let's do it. But if you don't necessarily know what you're looking for, it's a lot of work. We've had clients tell us they spent hours and hours and hours on YouTube looking for the right clip. So what we try to do here is kind of a Netflix look and feel. So there's two sections here. The first is featured clips. So on an ongoing basis, we will update our most popular clips that our clients are using. And you have the video, you have what they call the timestamp, how long the clips are, and then we actually pluck the famous movie line, like "I choose us," or if you want to deliver some bad news, "Honey, I got some bad news," right? We have featured movies. So right now we have about 300 movies in the system. We have over 7,000 movie clips ranging from 1 second to 3 minutes. And if I clicked Patch Adams, there are two different types of clips you're going to see here. One is called a macro clip. A macro clip runs 1 to 3 minutes on average. Again, timestamp, famous movie line. I want to listen. I really want to listen to people. 1 minute, 1 second. But if you scroll down, there are 66 what we call micro clips. For those people on the phone who are on Zoom here who know what Giphy is, a GIF on average is 4.5 seconds, but they don't talk to you. We've actually created over 5,000 talking GIFs that on average is 4.5 seconds. So, but I promise you one thing, I'm a thorn that will not go away. If I keep scrolling, people are cheering. If we continue to scroll, guy was the most innovative minds of our time. You know what I mean? So we can actually find the right clip, the right sentence, the right line in the micro clips, or you could have the full story in the macro clips. By the way, question comes up all the time. We're adding movies all the time. We get access to the rights to them once they hit pay-per-view. We also have partnerships with other studios. So for example, with Universal Studio, we have access to DreamWorks Animation. So that's helping us in the K through 12 space because of all the animated movies. So think about Shrek and How to Train Your Dragon, etc. We're also having conversations not only with the movie studios, but also down the road we'll have television in here. NBC, CBS. We're talking with Netflix and Amazon Prime for their original content. We will have user-generated content down the road, but it'll have to go through our 2 filters. Our first filter is human curation, which means somebody actually has to watch the movie or watch the television episode and tag it up. The second is the AI, the artificial intelligence, which I'll show you in a moment. But again, going back to this Netflix field, we have featured micro clips. We have featured actors. What we learn is people know actors' faces. They don't necessarily know their names. So every actor that we have in our clips, you can just click on Drew Barrymore, for example. We have featured themes. This is interesting. This is our human curation aspect of this thing. We have over 300 principles, themes, life lessons, soft skills that have been selected by humans. So if you look here, it's in alphabetical order. So achievement, accountability, balance, bullying, challenges, making good choices, etc. So this is all about speed for you. So if you don't necessarily know the movie, you can actually go to the theme. Probably about 70% of all of our clients will do what they call theme-based search. And then finally, we have the famous movie lines. Okay, so these are, again, going back to that Netflix look and feel, we update this on almost a daily basis. So you'll constantly see new and innovative clips that are available. Now, if I go up top up here, here's our secret sauce. What we found is that while people love this, they still don't have time. Our leaders are busy. Our clients are busy. So they're saying, is there a way in which you could help me find a clip faster? So what we've done is we've incorporated artificial intelligence and machine learning into our search capabilities. So there's 2 places to search, up here or here. I like to go up here. So if I type the letters in BA, all the movies that we have BA, Baby Mama, Back to the Future, all the actors that have BA, Alec Baldwin, Christian Bale, Drew Barrymore, all the themes that we have in a BA, balance, bounce back, pop up. So again, you could search by movie, you could search by actor, or you could search by theme. You can also search by an object. This is the AI. So if I type in basketball or sunglasses or car, and up here I'm typing in basketball, we have 9 clips where there's an object, a basketball appears in the clip. So right here you can see the basketball. Or I could scroll all the way down and it says it search the basketballs in the dialogue, like someone saying the word basketball. I could also go up here and I could type in the word courage, for example. There are 180 clips where the theme is courage, the famous movie line is courage, or someone saying courage in the dialogue. Now 180 clips times 2 to 3 minutes each could be a lot of work. So we've created these Amazon-like filters up here to get this shorter. So for example, I can go to search for, and I can say, I just want someone saying the word courage. So I click this button for dialogue, and I hit search. That 180 drops to 11. I could go to decade the movie was produced. So if I have a younger audience, I probably want a newer movie. I could go there. If I have an older audience, I can actually go back to the 70s and 80s. I could search. I could filter by genre if I want a comedy, for example. Or I could say I want both a full-length clip and the micro clip on 4.5 seconds on average, or I could actually ask for both. So I have 11 clip results here for courage. So acquire courage. Where did all that courage come from? I can also search by key phrase. So I could say in quotations, I'm proud of you, which we used to do all the time when I was in American Express. Putting the quotations, we'll search for the string of words. I hit go. And there are 32 clips that we have where someone's actually saying, I'm proud of you. So you really stepped up. I'm proud of you, son. Despicable Me, I'm so proud of you. We're awfully proud of you, son. I'm proud of you. And you can pick the clip that you want. Okay? So once we find a clip, we'll do this one for Meet the Fockers. This is called the record page. Okay? Down below here is what the movie's about, the clip's about, the genres, etc. You have a couple of choices. The first thing you do is you could bookmark the clip. Bookmark's like your own playlist. I love this clip. I don't want to lose it. I want to come back to it at some point in time. So you create your own playlist. Second cool thing we have is this thing called micro clips again. So if I click this yellow button, it brings me to the bottom of the page. Now this clip is 3 minutes long. These are all the famous quick movie lines that we found out of this 3 minutes. So if I want to go back to I'm so proud of you, I hit view and watch this.
I'm so proud of you.
It goes right to that moment, okay? And that clip itself is about 2 seconds long. And then the final thing you do is you could select and customize. So let me stop there real quick. Any questions thus far on this, Ken?
How many movie clips have you bookmarked?
Oh, I have all of them. No,
There you go.
no, I personally, I have my favorite 200.
Yeah, I bet. Hey, Scott, I'm just wondering, given what's going on in the country and dealing with the coronavirus, are there certain themes that are more relevant? Are you seeing different organizations implement the tool differently? And you can either answer that question now or, after you sort of show us how it works, you can answer it later.
Yeah, let me hold that thought, because that's an excellent question.
Yep, you got it. Sure.
So guys, now we're going to select and customize this. And this is where it's one level of coolness here. So the first thing you do is you could trim the clip. So this clip, again, was only 2 seconds long, but it has these handlebars where you can essentially start and stop wherever you'd like. Again, we found that shorter is better. Down here is we could title this clip. We could say this clip is about teamwork. And then we could tee it up. So we could say, having an effective team is a key to success. The reason this is important to tee up the clip is it gets people to focus what you want them to focus on. So you could tee it up in writing, or you could tee it up in video. So imagine taking your cell phone camera or your computer camera, filming yourself, saying, hey guys, Scott here, listen, this week's all about teamwork. You did a great job last week. I'm really proud of you. I want you to watch this movie a clip from Meet the Fockers. You know exactly what I'm talking about. And that video of you will appear right before the movie clip. And then finally, we created an optional chat room where you click this button here. It allows viewers to comment on your video. And, why do you think we're a great team? Something like that. Open-ended question, closed-ended question. So again, all we've done here is customize our message, trim the clip, give it a name, tee it up in video or text format, ask a question, then we hit continue. When we hit continue, everything we just did here starts to, we call it bake. But everything kind of encodes and comes together. It usually takes 10 to 20 seconds for everything to come together. And what it's going to do is it's going to give you an option of, do you want a URL code, an embed code, or would you like to put it into a PowerPoint presentation? And when it's all said and done, all it is simple copy and paste. So most of our clients will put this into Slack or email or text or a blog or the e-learning platforms that they're talking about. But especially today, they put it on Zoom. Okay, so to save time, I'm going to just give you an example of what one of these would look like. And then we can open up for questions. So essentially, this is my list of some of my favorites, Ken. All right, and I'll tell you what, let's go to Despicable Me. This is a fun one. So this is the URL version. It'd have your picture in the top right-hand corner. We white label it, so this would say Boxer Advisors, whatever the name of your company is. In this case, it's about leadership, and then essentially you put it in an email, and the clip plays. And the clip plays, you're able to send it out. So lastly, before we get to Q&A, Ken, what I would share with everybody is what we're finding in doing this is our clients are usually leaders. And most people think of leaders as corporate leaders, from a manager up to a CEO, but a leader is a professor, a teacher, a trainer, a coach. Anybody who's essentially looking to influence behavior, especially for the younger generation, are the people that will use a product and a tool like MovieCom. And the whole hope is to get people's attention, make your messages sticky and memorable, and drive engagement, because we all know that engagement long-term leads to profitability. So Ken, I'll stop there. We have about 10 minutes left. I can answer any questions anybody has.
That's great. So Scott, I've got one. Is that all right?
Please.
Yeah. So Scott, can you tell the group, a little bit, one of our clients was interested in using MovieCom in helping them launch their employee engagement survey. And many of the clients on the webinar today are federal clients. Obviously, all of them, do their employee engagement survey every year. And so what you were planning to do with the client, I thought was very cool. unbelievably cool. Can you tell everyone a little bit about what we're planning to do and how we thought it was going to help them?
Yeah, it's a great question. So one of our clients is Babson College, a business school up in Boston. That's actually my alma mater. And a couple of years ago, they reached out to me and asked us if we could put together a mashup of clips that got people all excited for our 100th year reunion. And so and the mashup itself is maybe a minute and a half. And so we worked with Babson on a tailored solution, customized approach to put together this mashup. And we sent it out to everybody, and it basically, they had the biggest turnout ever. And the feedback was incredible. So in talking to Ken, a couple of your clients about doing the same thing, the goal was to drive employee engagement participation. Okay, they had a goal in mind in terms of a target, and we were going to do the exact same thing. We were going to put together a mashup. We'd work with you hand in hand to develop what that would sound like and look like. We put it all together, and then you could email it out to get people really, really excited. And I think we were going to do, what, Ken, 3 of them?
That's right.
A month before, a couple days before, the day before. And we essentially would tell a story with a way of getting people's attention, getting people excited, and having some fun along the way.
Yeah, I just thought it was brilliant. And so, again, that's something every federal agency is trying to do. And not surprisingly, many federal agencies don't have the employee engagement scores that you had at Amex. So I just thought, it was an interesting application that others might be interested in. I've got another question from one of our participants, Scott. Again, in the era of COVID, are there certain applications of the tool that you're seeing more than others? Are there some of the list of topics that are more relevant these days? Anything you can share?
Yeah, the number one way people are using it is on Zoom meetings right now. Okay, number one by far. And so when a Zoom meeting starts, they're starting it with a clip. A best practice is every 12 to 15 minutes, just to ingest some energy into the meetings, to show a clip to turn the page, or they're using the clips at the end of the session to close it strong and make it a memorable message. And right behind that has been PowerPoint. And it's funny, on Zoom, over 80% of people who are actually on Zoom are using PowerPoint like we're using today. So hopefully, as you can see, it works well.
Yeah.
And the messaging is very, very interesting. The messaging we're seeing is really about principles and values across the board, and integrity, service. You know, the reason people are doing that is because when people by themselves in this COVID type of world, they're forced to make principle-based decisions when they're by themselves.
Yep.
And it goes back to that science I talked about earlier, where if people can remember a video when they have to make that decision, they will hopefully make it an alignment with what the company is looking to get across to people.
Yep. Gotcha. You talked, Scott, about how you were a role model for using this internally at Amex. Now that you're in a different chair and you're consulting to many organizations, big companies, universities, government agencies, are you seeing different challenges that leaders are faced with that they're using the tool as to address?
Yeah, there's 2 things I'd share here. The biggest thing we're seeing is that the average age leader today is late 40s to early 50s. And people like me and Ken, like yourself, we were brought up a certain way. We were trained a certain way, communicated a certain way, motivated a certain way. And then we think, the problem we're running into is we think because we were taught that way that we should teach that way. What I'm seeing out there, what people are saying is they're trying that, but it's not working.
Right.
And it all speaks back to the generational aspect of things. So the successful leaders we're seeing are realizing they have to pivot and adapt their style in order to meet the demands of today's workforce. And the ones that won't are frustrated because they're not seeing the results they want to see, and they're not seeing the change of behaviors they want to see. And that's affecting culture, and that's affecting the environment. So if you get people that are unhappy, as you know, engagement's going to go down, and all your key metrics start going down as well. And so what we're seeing is a lot more people today, a lot more leaders today are trying to be innovative, and they're trying to look for new and exciting ways of engaging people. And again, hopefully we're one of those tools.
Scott, I know we just have a few minutes left. Two questions. One, if someone was interested in this, what would be a next step? And then someone asked the question, I'm assuming you can either answer it or say, we'll handle it offline. However you want to deal with it. Can you say a little bit about, I know the answer. Is there an annual subscription? How do you go about purchasing this?
Yeah.
If someone was interested. So anyway.
So two things. First of all, what we'd love to do, if you're interested, is we would love to bring you through a personalized demo of this. So because we're part of Boxer Advisors, or friends of Boxer Advisors, we'd love to set up some time with you one-on-one. Anybody who's on the phone today or who wasn't able to make it, where we can actually find out what you're looking to drive, what you're looking to enhance, give you a slower version of the demo, and about what we've done for other clients like you, so we can help. Number two is, and Ken, they could reach me directly at scottdg@moviecom.com. If you could just send out our contact information. Number two is in the pricing. I'm back to the homepage up top here. It says pricing here. It's a subscription-based service. So everybody today could actually go on for free with no credit card and go play with us.
Really?
Yes, you could have unlimited browsing, unlimited view. It's not a 7-day, 10-day, 30-day thing. I just want you to go watch and see what it's all about. The only limitation on the free one is how many people you can send this to. Send an email or text or blog to. And it's called a view limit. So in the free version, you get 50 views. Then, as you can see, as you increase your number of views, 600, 6,000, 60,000, you go from small, medium, and large, and the pricing is right here. Now, granted, this is on a per leader basis or per subscriber basis. So it ranges from $9 to $49 a month, and we give a discount if you pay annually. And then we have an enterprise solution, which is where I spend most of my time. And this is for bigger audience of more than 1,000 people plus, e-learning and LMS providers, multiple users. Just lost my light. And or special projects.
That's great. Hey, Scott, again, knowing, your success as a business guy, and second, as a leader, and second, involved in the solution, what advice would you have? What are some, and we just have a couple minutes, so what advice, if any, obviously we can help someone, but any perspective around how are people justifying this procurement if they're with a federal agency and they've never done anything nearly this cool? How would they justify, procuring this? Any thoughts about benefits or things that you might mention?
I would say based on because we've done work with Health and Human Services, Veterans Affairs, the FAA, some other organizations within the federal government. Right now, matter of fact, our technology company does a lot of work with the Department of Health and Human Services, so they understand firewalls, et cetera. This is a new and innovative tool. Like I said, we've been doing this for a number of years now, and so we have both small, medium, large size companies, government entities, colleges, universities, K through 12. So we know how to help you get things approved.
Yeah.
And so that's what I say. Just give us a call. We'll be happy to help.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm just going to piggyback on this. I do believe that the pricing, you can start out small and do a little pilot with, either one or a few leaders and see how they're able to use it. We probably have time for one more question. If someone has a final question, we'll answer it. So, Scott, I'll ask one last question. Anything, when you look down the road, any trends that you're seeing that might be relevant for us to think about relative to either leadership or employee engagement that you're seeing from your vantage point?
Yeah, and it's a great question to end with, Ken. Here's what I'll share with everybody, because we've done a lot of research on this. What we're finding is usually when people back in the day think about engagement, and especially leaders' impact on engagement, you measure it by either months, quarters, or annually, right? You get the annual employee engagement score. What studies are showing now is actually engagement is actually moment by moment, minute by minute. Because again, people want instant gratification. If you study the younger generation about how they tick, it's really important to understand them and adapt your style to meet them. And the bottom line of this thing is waiting 6, 8, 10, 12 months is not going to be effective anymore, because those people aren't going to be there. And they're going to leave. And as we all know, retention crushes culture and environment. Never mind from an expense standpoint. The cost of recruiting, training, retaining has never been higher. So I would leave you with this. Our mission here is we believe in everybody's potential. We believe every individual in this world has an incredible amount of potential. But what we realize is it takes great leadership to help people tap into that potential. And great leaders don't always have new and innovative tools in order to make the difference that they are put in line to do. So again, we're hoping that we're one of those tools. We believe we're one of those tools that's new and innovative and different, that can help you change your culture, help people tap into their true potential, and make a major difference in people's lives.
Amen, my brother. This was great. Great. Scott, thank you so much for being with us today. I hope that everyone has enjoyed learning more about the MovieCom product, enjoyed seeing some of the movies. I think that's great. Sarah, I know we're about over. If you can put up some of the upcoming sessions, great. If not, just put them in the follow-up email. Scott, thank you so much. This was great, and I'm grateful that you were willing to be with us today. I always enjoy hearing about what you're doing. And again, if people are interested in learning more, just send me an email. And as Scott said, we're happy to do a personalized demo for you. So with that,
Sounds great, guys. Thank you. Good luck.
Scott, thanks. This was great.